Hey, folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. This video for Thursday, February 23rd, 2012 is sponsored by RealTick. All right, we're going to get into the mix today. Markets are higher across the board. Dow is up 31 points. NASDAQ is up 12. S&P 500 is up about 2.5 points on the day. Now, the key is the market's got this beautiful bid right around 10 o'clock. A buy program came in after the market started to sell off, and that buy program really ripped the markets higher, as you can see. We came up to this area which matches yesterday's pivot high, which obviously is resistance. You hammered there, pulled back, then you exactly hammered the high from yesterday and pulled back again. And now you're just kind of chopping in the upper ranges. You can see we came down a little bit, back up, and are now coming down. Now the spiders net are only up 28 to 29 cents. Again, it's one of these kind of flattish to slight up days, what we call a float day on very, very light volume, where the markets again have just been propped up with a couple buy programs throughout the day. And what it does is ultimately keeps the pressure on the neutral to positive side. I think a lot of people are looking for Dow 13,000, a close above, possibly by Friday, tomorrow's close. And again, that would give people the bias going into the weekend for the media to pump that 13,000 level and ultimately bring on new investors, retail investors, amateur money into the market early next week. Now, again, the one thing I have to draw here, and the key is to watch this market as it floats up and notice that you're really not getting these up 50 to 100 to 200 point days anymore. I mean, it just doesn't happen. All you're seeing at this point is, up 25, 30 on the Dow, which is a good day. In the same respect, yesterday was a down day, and we were only down 20 to 30 points on the Dow yesterday as well. So, I mean, you're not seeing the selling, but at the same time, you're not able to push this market much higher. All right, and again, that does tell us, in my opinion at least, especially considering we tagged that 137 15-ish level double top from May 2011 here, that the markets are ridiculously short-term extended, and you have to be in the camp that the markets should see a pullback in the not-too-distant future. All right. What I will do shortly, guys, is go over some key charts for either shorts or longs. Also talk about some small caps for those of you that are interested. In addition, one little note here, 7-day free trial to the Research Center, which is part of our service here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. There's also a 7-day free trial to the intraday stock chat. The cycle date is coming up. Be ready for that. It's going to give some huge plays and some huge profits for us here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. If you're a member, you will get those plays. You will get entries, exits, targets, you name it, as well as the cycle date as it approaches. All right, but again, bottom line is flattish to slightly higher day. Apple just had an investors meeting, or is currently going into an investors meeting. A lot of people had hoped for a dividend announcement. It doesn't look like that's happening. Because of that, Apple is trading just slightly lower. All right, you're seeing Apple just slightly lower on the day. The one thing I want to point out on Apple's chart here, which I think is very important, is there is a possibility that Apple is in a breakdown mode. And again, I'm talking about a longer-term macro pattern here. And again, notice the big move down. This was the collapse from about the 526 high all the way down to the high 400s. And then this sideways movement, if you take a trend line and connect it through the lows, and again, I'll just show you here. So you take these lows and just generally connect it through these lows all the way up. You can see that Apple has broken below this trend line. And this is, again, known as an in spirit of bearish pattern here, bear flag pattern, and you have broken below. So, if this bigger pattern works out, you could see some big downside on Apple in the next week or so. And again, I'm just throwing that out there for those of you that are interested in possibly to watch this pattern as Apple hovers right around the flat line right now, getting a little bit of an uptick right now on the charts. All right, a couple other stocks that I just want to touch on. JP Morgan, flat to slightly higher, up 7 cents. Very quiet day here. You can see it's had some pops throughout the day. Ultimately, you may be creating a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern here on an intraday basis, though. So just keep an eye on this. You can see if we were to downtick, your neckline of the head and shoulder would be right here, and you break that, you actually probably go back to the lows of the day. All right, so it's a classic head and shoulder pattern. It must break this white trend line down here, though, for it to trigger. And once it triggers, your target on this play would be down in the double bottom range. Okay? Let's take a look at some other things. Obviously, I want to look at the dollar quickly. The UUP is the dollar ETF. The dollar has been under constant pressure today. That is one of the reasons why the markets are up, if not the only reason. When the dollar falls, the markets go up. It's that simple. And by the way, oil continues to rally. Oil spot crude is right now trading at 107.62. I repeat, 107.62 per barrel on spot crude. That's an amazing move. Let me show you the USO chart. This USO just continues to go north, now up 60 cents. And if we look at the charts, you can see the breakout right here on a river theory, which is a proprietary signal here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. And look at the breakout continue. Your next target is going to be gap fill, or I should say gap window first at $42, which is about 80 cents away. And then gap fill would be right up here at approximately, let's see here, 43 and a quarter. Those are your next two targets. I do think you at least get to gap window before you pull back on oil. That should match with almost 110. 109 to 110 on spot crude would be that level. All right, guys, really an amazing type move here on oil as it continues to kind of run up in the face of better economic news as well as the Iranian situation, which is continuing to look like it's going to a head. It's going to come to a point where it's going to just explode. All right, no one's shaking, no one's giving ground. Oil prices and gas prices here in the U.S. keep going up. And, obviously Israel and even the U.S. now we're hearing that maybe in a couple years Iran can have missiles that'll reach the west coast of the U.S. Okay? All right, so we see that right now, folks. Let me just take a look at a couple other things here. The GLD continues to climb, but only up 50 cents. I have a short-term target on the GLD of 175 to 175 and a half. We're still not there. Now, the SLV is a different story. I do have the SLV into a target range of resistance. If I zoom out, you can see clearly you're into some big levels here. I have this level right here as well. In my opinion, you are into some major levels of resistance on the SLV. I am myself looking at a possible short trade on the SLV. I haven't pulled the trigger yet on it because I'm waiting patiently to get the best entry possible. But it does look to me to be a play which should pay off very handsomely over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We might get as high as 35, 35 and a half, but anywhere in this upper ranges could be a great shorting opportunity on the SLV. Okay, let's take a look at some other things here, folks. I want to go over some other charts. We talked about Apple. Now let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is weaker today, down $2.50. The one thing to note on Amazon, folks, it's going to break down. There's no doubt in my mind Amazon's on a breakdown path. The reason why I know this is based on this trend line, connect the pivot lows. When this breaks, this should break on the next move down, which could happen as early as tomorrow or next Monday. When this breaks, Amazon will go very quickly to this base low here at around 167. Okay, so 167 is the target once this white line breaks, and it should go there within about 1 to 2 days once it breaks. So be ready for that little dump. And again, that's $167 per share. It's about $11 lower than current price right now. If we take a look at some other plays, how's Google doing today? Google is weaker as well. And it's interesting because the NASDAQ is positive. The Qs are having a decent day, but that's mostly on the back of other tech stocks, not the Googles, not the Baidus, even the Apple is really just flat today. Apple Computer's flat, or Apple Inc. is flat, and even Amazon is down as we see. But the keys today in tech land that are strong are Microsoft's up 0.25%, but IBM is leading the charge, up 2%. It's a great move on IBM. In fact, IBM all-time highs. Take a look at this move on the daily chart of IBM. IBM, believe it or not, is accounting for 2/3 of all the points in the Dow. Just that one stock is 2/3 of the points in the Dow today. Dow's hovering up nicely, up about 30 points. I'd say IBM's points are about 20 points or so of the Dow's up 35 to 34. It's amazing how one stock is that influential, but believe it or not, Apple's that influential in the NASDAQ 100. It's 20% of the NASDAQ 100. So, I mean, it's, you have to wonder about things like that because, it's great when the market's going up and those stocks are leading, the markets go up, but just imagine if Apple ever takes a big hit and drops 10% in one day. I mean, we'd almost have a market crash on our hands. All right, kind of reckless for the players out there to allow that to be such a big weighting, but that's what it is, and that's what we'll trade. All right, other stocks having big days today. Dell is having a very nice day after getting crushed on earnings yesterday. It's having a good bounce back day, up about 25 cents. Nice move on that stock. And financials overall, as I said earlier, are flat to slightly positive. They're doing all right as well, kind of keeping this market around the flat line. Let's go back to the SPY and take a look at the intraday so we can pay attention. And again, it looks to me like the markets, again, are just in the upper ranges. Very light volume today. We haven't even hit 100 million on the SPY. And again, there were some great scalps this morning in the trading front for the intraday stock chat, which again we have a 7-day free trial for, and the swing trades continue to be there, and we're waiting patiently. It's all about patience. If you can be patient on the swing trades, you will nail them for big profits. A couple small caps I continue to like here. ANX is upticking. This is a little biotech. I'll touch on some biotechs now because I do think biotechs are the way to go right now based on the VVUS news, which got a diet drug most likely approved. It still needs the actual approval from the FDA, but their board voted, I think, 20 to 2 to approve it. They just have to actually finally approve it. Either way, ANX is one of my favorites. I love this consolidation path. It's trading here above both moving averages, long base, and again, I think this goes above $1 very soon on the ANX Adventurex Pharmaceuticals. The VVUS is the one I was mentioning, up about 100% today after that diet pill should get approval, and even some sympathy plays like ANRA had a big pop earlier, although that's come in, and OREX has come in as well, but still up huge on the back of sympathy to that. Let me see if there's any other small cap bios. Another small cap bio I like, I actually have a position in this one as well as the ANX, is this ABIO trading at the dead lows. Look at that base. This is a beautiful base. Any sort of news, this is a 50 to 100% gainer. I would see $1.50 to $2 easily, if not more, if they got some decent drug news out on the ABIO. And there's always OXGN to keep an eye on. I'm a big fan of this one as well, although I don't like the chart on this one as much, and I don't have a position in this one, but I do like this one as well, and I'm keeping a close eye on it. It's had a history of having some big moves, as you can see, ran from $1.50 all the way to $6-7 here, and then has come back in, nice base now as well. So biotech land is hot right now based on, some of these biotechs, and also the buyouts over the last couple months on some of these biotechs have been very positive. And at this point, it's looking for the cheap bios that have a lot of cash on their books, so they're not at risk of having to raise money, and looking for those opportunities. Okay? Alrighty, guys, I got to step back into the trading room here, but again, 7-day free trial to the Research Center. That's for swing traders. If you're a swing trader, you want to know, you want to get videos, you want to get trades, you want to get analysis, you want live broadcasts, then the Research Center is for you. If you're more of a day trader, you want intraday analysis, pivot points, intraday, and so forth, then the intraday stock chat is for you. 7-day free trial, folks. It's there for you. Come to inthemoneystocks.com. I repeat, that's inthemoneystocks.com. Take care. I got to go back and make some money.